changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration. It's Motivational Monday, and today I'm going to share a story that I think will give you a new perspective. I've been sharing a lot of stories from our latest book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Power of Gratitude, because I think it has such a good message. Gratitude truly does have the power to change our lives and improve our outlooks. And in this story, called The Perfect Home, Jody LaBelle learns a lesson about gratitude from a prowler. Jody was living in the middle of a row of brownstones in Springfield, Massachusetts. She didn't love having neighbors on either side of her. You know how brownstones are set up all in a row. But it was a nice location anyway, a tree-lined street with cafes and flower shops and even a food market right on the corner. Jody's building had planters with geraniums on its stoop, and there were pots of herbs on the broad windowsills. There was an attic for storage, a basement for Jody's bicycle. It was nice, but still, Jody found herself criticizing her home. She didn't like her furniture. She didn't like the color of the walls. The heat was provided by ugly old radiators. She was always looking through design magazines to get new ideas for decor, nice furniture. She was always looking for more. Then something strange began to happen. Jody started to lose track of things. She would be sure she had a can of tuna, but then when she went to get it, it wouldn't be there. Then when she was sure she hadn't finished eating a package of cold cuts, she went looking for it, and it was gone. At first, she thought she was being forgetful. She even thought about mentioning this to a doctor, but then she decided that she was just busy and forgetting things. But one morning, she was absolutely sure that she had left a bright blue plastic container of leftovers in the refrigerator. And when she looked in there, all she saw was an empty shelf. She couldn't ignore this problem anymore. She sat down and she made a list of all the food that had gone missing. And then she thought about how she was going to figure out what was going on. And then she realized she could sprinkle flour on the floor. And if some kind of animal, an animal that could open refrigerators, was getting in and stealing her food, she would see its paw prints. So the next morning, Jody went downstairs to see what kind of animal had been in her kitchen overnight. And she gasped when she saw the paw prints, because they were footprints from a human, and they led right to her basement door. So Jody started replaying horror movies in her head, but she carefully opened that basement door, and she crept down the stairs, and she followed those flowery footsteps all the way to the hatch door to the outside. It was supposed to be locked, but the screw that was holding the lock in place had come out, and the lock was just hanging there. Those flowery footsteps continued outside to a dumpster that was actually on the adjoining property. Jody crept over there. Her heart was pounding. She was wondering what she was going to find. And there she found something very sad. She found a makeshift tent that was made from plastic bags, pieces of cardboard, and bits of what looked like torn T-shirts. There were some women's clothes hanging off a stick, too. And there was an old sleeping bag and a few other items, a cup, a tube of deodorant, some dishes, and Jody's missing blue plastic leftover container. Jody started crying when she realized who her burglar was. And you know what really struck her was that in all the times that this homeless woman had entered her kitchen, she only took food. She went right by the other things that were in plain sight: Jody's cell phone, her expensive watch, her laptop computer. From then on, every single night, Jody put out a bag for the lady so that she wouldn't have to break into her basement anymore. She put out a sandwich, a piece of fruit, and a container of chocolate milk. She never saw the woman, but the bag disappeared every night, and that went on for months. And then one day, the bag was still there in the morning, and Jody walked over to the woman's camp by the dumpster, and she wasn't there anymore. Jody says, "From the very day I found her pitiful home, I never again found fault with mine. Humbled and grateful, I stopped looking for fulfillment in owning things. I stopped fretting about my surroundings being perfect. And I found an inner peace that has kept me steady through the years. So that's another great example of the power of gratitude to put things in perspective for us. Tomorrow is Tip Tuesday, and I'm going to share a fun story that will help you make that big decision to step out of your comfort zone and try some new things. I'm Amy Newmark. Thank you for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. My producers will thank me if you go and put a review on the iTunes page, so please make them happy. And if you'd like to read more great tips about the power of gratitude, please go to our website, chickensoup.com.